Good morning. Thursday, the 21st of January, 2021. Pastor Ron Jetter, Immanuel Lutheran Church, with my daily message. And I'm a little disheveled. Had to get up early and run off to an appointment this morning, which means since Sue was taking the other car to give someone a ride, I had to go out and shovel off the Tahoe, start it up. Hasn't been started in a couple of weeks. It's a cold, old V8. And yeah, when the weather report says it's going to snow, I say I'll believe it when I see it. I saw it, I believe it. It's messy out there, and it was garbage day, even though we had a holiday on Monday. Garbage trucks were out today, so you don't want to miss it thinking, oh, I don't have to put it out till Friday, and then you gotta wait another week. And we got one more bag of leaves to put in there from the fall yet. Had to shovel the driveway, and then I thought I better go down and do my message. And then, I don't know, I got a hankering. Hankering, kind of a funny word, isn't it? Well, it's craving. Craving is the noun form of the verb to crave, to desire. But is there a verb to hanker? I don't know, but hankering, and there's not really a G on it, it's more a hankering with an apostrophe. It's just a word I grew up with. My grandpa had hankerings, and grandma would have hankerings for something. Well, I had a hankering for blueberry scones. Had some blueberries, needed to use them up before they go bad. Hate to throw away things that I've bought with good money. So I made a modified Martha Stewart recipe. She calls for buttermilk. I just use powder milk. So just like Lake Wobegon. Powder milk scones. Powder milk biscuits. Yes, agree. Hankering. We get hankerings for things. Sometimes you see a commercial on television and you get a hankering. Ever wonder why Taco Bell and Pizza Hut and some of these other Yum brand companies have commercials on at about 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock at night? Okay, people have had dinner, and now, or maybe it's a late dinner, haven't eaten yet, but they want a midnight snack, whatever. They're going to go out. And, well, you don't see those commercials these days because we don't just run out and do stuff. Things have different hours with COVID-19 restrictions in place. But you remember those from the past. Well, I got a hankering for blueberry scones, so I pulled up the recipe on my iPad, and there we go. Made them, and they were delicious. Now I'm down here doing my message. Hankerings. You see somebody else that has something and you think you want it. Well, as I have said before, when you look at what's restricted in the book of Leviticus, and even the laws in Exodus too, they're only restricted if somebody had already been doing them and they had already led to what we call an undesirable or negative outcome. There's a word we use in medicine, right? A negative outcome, an undesirable outcome. So, things that are not helping to shape a people for God, to form a strong, cohesive, caring, sharing, prosperous people. Whatever practices it is, it's prohibited. But they see the neighbors doing it. This tells us a couple of things. Number one, the Israelites are traveling through areas where they are now interacting with a lot of other tribes. And these other tribes have their own gods, their own practices, their own religions, their own rituals. And the Israelites are beginning to hedge their bets, and they're real tempted. They think, well, those people seem happier than us, and wow, that looks like fun. Let's try that. Everything from adorning their bodies, and the God of Israel says that's a waste. You're wasting resources, wasting energy. Okay, so what does it cost you to get your hair done, to buy those earrings and your cosmetics, the nice clothes you have, the shoes that may be less than comfortable, but they look great, the car that's more stylish than practical, all the things that we do that are not necessarily good stewardship of resources. The Israelites saw the neighboring tribes and they said, we're going to do that. And God says, oh, no, you're not. So if you want to read chapter 21 of Leviticus, I encourage you to do so. One interesting thing, though, verses 16 on. Speak to Aaron and say, no one of your offspring, that is to say the Levites, the priestly people, throughout their generations who has a blemish may approach the offer to offer the food of his God. For no one who has a blemish shall draw near, one who is blind or lame, or one who has a mutilated face or a limb too long, one who has a broken foot or a broken hand, a hunchback or a dwarf, a man with a blemish in his eyes or an itching disease, scabs, crushed body parts, etc. So if you're born into the priestly tribe and you got a birthmark, oh, bummer. You have just been excluded. Eczema, acne, until it's gone. If there's a visible blemish, they don't know that these things aren't contagious, and they just know that that person cannot go near God, and oftentimes has to stay away from other people. Yeah, really. Wow. I'm sorry, your son is too short to be a priest. Boy. Chapter 23 then, the use of offerings, acceptable offerings, how to make the offering, and again, you can read all that yourself, and it's I think less interesting than chapter 22. But chapter 23, or rather 21, is interesting. 22, I think, it's a little pedantic, but somewhat pedestrian to read. Go ahead if you want. Chapter 23, though. I love chapter 23 of the book of Leviticus because it speaks of the ordering of the seasons. This is the appointed festivals. The Lord spoke to Moses, saying, speak to the people of Israel and say to them, these are the appointed festivals of the Lord that you shall proclaim as holy convocations, my appointed festivals. In other words, these are times when you get together and you party down, when you break out the best dishes and you make the best foods and you sit around the table as family and you dance and you sing and you make a joyful noise to the Lord. God isn't saying, I don't want you to have fun. God's saying, I want you to have controlled fun at certain times for certain reasons within certain parameters. And to remember that all of these times of fun are an acknowledgement that you, the people of Israel, and me, your God, have a covenant relationship. You're my chosen people, and the festivals are there to celebrate what we have done together because I chose you. The first is the Sabbath. Restating Exodus chapter 20. 6 days shall work be done. The seventh day is the Sabbath. Complete rest, a holy convocation. Convocation. Work together. Convocation. Community, vocation, work together. You work together at rest. Rest is a holy work that we do together. We do our labor for our daily bread separately or in small groups, but rest is a holy work. Interesting, then, we use the word liturgy to describe the Sunday morning Holy Communion ritual. Liturgy is a Greek word, liturgos, meaning the work of the people. It is a holy convocation, a work of all of us together. Worship is holy work. Worship isn't passive, it's active. The Sabbath is active rest, purposeful rest. I know it seems kind of like a paradox. Maybe it is. But God says it is the Sabbath throughout your settlements. These are the appointed festivals of the Lord, the holy convocations which you shall celebrate at the time appointed for them. In the first month on the 14th day of the month at twilight, there shall be a Passover offering of the Lord. And on the 15th day of the same month is the festival of unleavened bread to the Lord. 7 days you shall eat unleavened bread On the first day you shall have a holy convocation. You shall not work at your occupation. So then we have this convocation and occupation, these two words. For 7 days you shall present the Lord's offerings by fire. On the seventh day shall be a holy convocation. You shall not work at your occupations. So they can work during Passover week, but they only eat unleavened bread, and they will have then that feast of the unleavened bread, which is the Passover meal. Once every year, the Passover meal. So those are the first two, and I'm going to get more into chapter 23 tomorrow. The Sabbath and Passover. Passover, the first month on the 14th day. And again, we'll go through the months next time, because I'll talk more about the Jewish calendar then. And we'll get into why Jewish New Year is on the first day of the sixth month, not the first day of the seventh month, not the first day of the first month. Something I often wondered about.